Join me as the cars are getting ready to go out in the second of the Toyo Tires Porsche Championship races here at Castle Combe. Adam Southgate once again on pole position, but James Coleman, the only person to have taken a victory from him so far this year, starts back in 5th, but he had a fantastic race yesterday before retirement. Let's see what he can do. Right the way at the back of the box to grid is Kevin Molyneux. We weren't expecting to see him out here in the second race. He is going to be one to watch. Jake Sanson, it's over to you to take us through all of the action.
Thanks, Lloyd. This should be a cracker after the first race. Southgate and Lawrence on the front row. Goodwin and Baker are on the second row of the grid together from James Coleman and Nick Hull, with Matthew Harris alongside Kevin Molyneux, hoping to fight back from the 4th row, with Johnson versus Pert continuing in the 924 battle. First blood to Johnson. Will Pert take a win off him in race 2? Let's find out. A cracking start from Nick Hull in the middle of the field as he tries to split the inside line. Great start from Southgate. We're on board with Gary Goodwin, and already Gary Lawrence has got a good lead over us, as has Nick Hull and James Coleman. They've moved their way forward. Nick Hull on the back there of James Coleman, who's already surged his way through into 3rd position. So a cracking start from Coleman, up from 5th to 3rd right off the bat. Southgate leads the way. 93, Gary Lawrence in 2nd place. We're on board with Gary Goodwin. Behind us is Kevin Molyneux, and we're charging after Nick Hull. So Goodwin going for another podium. They make their way through the S's for the first time in this second race. James Coleman is already starting to get a look underneath Gary Lawrence, as Nick Hull in 4th position is chasing him down. We're on board with Goodwin. That is Kevin Molyneux, so it looks as though we're going to renew our battle from the first race, as James Coleman immediately starts to get into Gary Lawrence. Molyneux diving up the inside of Gary Goodwin. Is there enough space for them both? Yes, there is, and Molyneux through. Much better from Molyneux compared to the first race, and he's up on the inside of Goodwin, up into 5th position straight off the bat. So Southgate, Lawrence, Coleman, Hull, Molyneux and Goodwin. Then it is Baker in front of Harris. So a fantastic start to the race for Adam Southgate, who's got himself into a nice lead already. Lawrence in 2nd, Coleman in 3rd. These guys are hoping to try and get up to the bat. It's early in the morning, but look at the sun beating down here at Castle Combe. Not a sun in the sky. It's going to be an absolute oven in those cars as they go on to the second lap, through Folly and up through Avon Rise. Coleman now chasing after the 93 of Gary Lawrence. Has Coleman got a problem? He was a little bit sluggish there down towards Quarry. Well, he's got himself neatly nailed there for the 93 of Gary Lawrence. He's going to try and come back at him. He's got a good exit off the turn, actually, and now he's going to dive for the inside of the S's. That's a late lunge, but Coleman has to back out of it in the end. Southgate leads. Lawrence 2nd. 3rd is Coleman. 4th is Nick Hull, looking much racier today. And he's well ahead of Kevin Molyneux and Gary Goodwin this time, as Adam Southgate continues on. Look, the light of the camera is almost blue through the sun haze. That is how hot it is here. Into Tower Corner, and still these three battle over 2nd position, as once again it's the Adam Southgate pain train up front. Nick Hull having a look on the inside of James Coleman, trying to get through the bobbies. Up on the exit and up towards Camp Corner. Frightening, fast, flat out corner this. A little blip of the throttle as they come into it, but then you can keep the power pretty much throughout. So Kevin Molyneux through in the 46. In behind him is Gary Goodwin. The leading 6 are getting away from Harrison Baker, leaving Johnson and Pert to battle away for the 924 victory once again. Here's the 00. James Coleman charging after. Adam Southgate in the lead is the 2nd place man, Gary Lawrence, the 93. There is Southgate, no problems at all as he goes through Quarry. On the run to the S's. Oh, and Gary Lawrence has had a little moment there out of Quarry. He runs wide, and that's enough for James Coleman to start thinking about a move. And as they come through the S's up towards Old Paddock Bend, Adam Southgate continues to lead the way. 2nd place, Gary Lawrence hanging on in front of James Coleman. 4th place, Nick Hull, right underneath. Coleman is looking very threatening. And look, Gary Lawrence is ultra on the defence. It seems as though he knows he can't keep up with Adam Southgate, and he's just trying to hang on to 2nd position for all he's worth. He's not making any attempts at all to get into Adam Southgate's advantage. I think he's well aware of the fact that with Southgate that far ahead this early on, it's game over for the victory. Second place might be all he can do. James Coleman, meanwhile, might be thinking, well, if I can get past you, Gary, I might be able to catch up with him, so don't hold me up forever, mate. They come down towards Camp Corner once again. Lawrence in second, Coleman in third, Nick Hull in fourth position, looking much stronger. They must have made the repairs from yesterday's incidents, and now he is back on the charge once again, gunning for the podium that he's had a few times over the course of his season. A couple of third places at Rockingham, and let's not forget he scored his best ever career finish there in the pit stop race in the third and final race of the weekend, finishing second. So Nick Hull is very much having a very strong season in 2018. Race one yesterday notwithstanding, but Southgate leads the way. Second place, the 93 of Gary Lawrence. Third is James Coleman. Fourth is Nick Hull from Kevin Molyneux and Gary Goodwin. Southgate's lead is growing by the lap here as they continues to stretch out the advantage. We're on board with Coleman. So what can Dick Dastardly do on the back of the 93 of Gary Lawrence? 00, James Coleman right on the back of Gary Lawrence. No major changes at the moment. Lawrence is being a lot more strong in terms of his composure than he was yesterday. Yesterday the car was getting a bit sideways from time to time, and that's where he ultimately lost his lead over Adam Southgate when he pitched it sideways out of quarry. Now he's got himself a really stable motion, and he is keeping it very nicely in earnest at the moment here, hanging on in front of his rival James Coleman in second place. There is the 00 as they plough out of the final turn at Camp and onto the main straight. There's your leader, Adam Southgate. No problems at all for him out front. Second, Gary Lawrence. Third, James Coleman. Fourth is Nick Hull, and they continue to battle away. No major problems at the moment. We're on board with Coleman. Lawrence early on the brakes there as they go up over Avon Rise and into Quarry. You've got to be so careful on the brakes here because the way that those bumps kick the car about on the way through the left flick at Avon Rise and up towards Quarry, the car can get away from you very easily, as we saw in race one from several drivers yesterday. The back end can really step out. Let's not forget that first couple of laps we saw Southgate and Coleman getting very close to each other, and they actually banged doors on the first lap as they battled for track position. Rubbing was racing. I don't think either driver saw the other one at fault, and that was all fair and good. The 93 Gary Lawrence still in second place here, hanging on in front of James Coleman. And fourth position Nick Hull just trying to stay with them in this early stage. So Coleman through bobbies. You've got to be so careful on that turning because you've got those tyres on the right side. You've got to nail the turn in absolutely right, and if you just get it slightly wrong, then that's going to cause a massive problem. You clip those and that's a broken suspension just for starters. Through the final turn, careful on the power as back in the lead there is your leader Adam Southgate. We're on board with James Coleman chasing after the man in second place, Gary Lawrence in the 93. So Coleman looking strong at the moment in third position, chasing after our leader Gary Lawrence, but no problem at all for Adam Southgate, who's continuing his winning streak. This is more the sort of race domination we have expected to see from Southgate in the 2018 season. Yesterday he really had to work for it in race one. Now here in race two he's looking so much more strong, and he's way out in front of Gary Lawrence and James Coleman already. This is only the first half of the race, don't forget, and that lead is pretty much unassailable. There's Nick Hull in fourth position, looking to get himself back on the podium as they drop down the rise again out of Old Paddock Bend and up towards Tower. And again, Gary Lawrence just moving to cover James Coleman on the inside line there. That's just a statement of intent. If you try this up the inside, James, I'm all over it, mate. Don't even think about it. As they break down for bobbies. Right, left, plenty of curb on the way in and out. Nick Hull still there in fourth position, trying to make his gains up onto the podium positions once again. As they drop down towards Camp Corner once again. A great run from these guys in second and third position as we ride on board with Nick Hull. He's going straight on. He's going to hit the barrier. Oh dear. And Nick Hull rolls it onto his roof. My goodness, that's a heavy impact. They're surely going to have to bring out the safety car for this, if not the red flags. But Nick Hull has gone straight on there at Camp Corner. Now that looks to me like it could be a brake failure. So a big problem there for Nick Hull. Well, I hope he's okay. I have a feeling we're going to get a safety car for that at the absolute minimum, because we have a car on its roof at the final turn. So there's yellow flags around the circuit. There's safety car board, and I'm not at all surprised. Well, let's just keep calm. Let's hope that Nick Hull is okay, but that was a very nasty off there and a very nasty place to go off the circuit. The good news is that he's actually gone off the circuit at the final turn, so the medical teams will be down there pretty quickly. But we're under safety car conditions here, and Gary Lawrence only just realised it, I think. Almost overshot himself at Tower. So that massive lead that Adam Southgate once had is now evaporated. But let's just hope that Nick Hull is okay. Oh, I could see him out of the car, actually, so he has got out of the car. Phew. That's all I can say. That's a very nasty moment there for the entirety of the field. So safety car is out. Medical team is going to be there to make sure he's okay, but I think what's going to be the major problem really is the damage to the barriers, because that's something that's going to take quite a while. So I would suspect that that's going to be a well, this could even be a race stoppage, because there's a lot of damage to those barriers. The safety car is actually peeled back in. They've called the safety car initially, but the safety car is reversing. Red flags, yes. See, there's too much damage to the barriers. Too much damage to the barriers on the final corner, so that's going to bring out the red flags. Let's have a watch again on board with Nick Hull. He gets down to the braking zone. Look, he's slammed on the brakes. Nothing's happening. And he goes straight into the tyres, and that pitches the car over onto its roof. You can see the monstrosity of the accident. Nick Hull is very, very lucky to get away with that one. We're under red flags. Too much damage in the final turn. The good news is that Nick Hull is okay. Battered and bruised, shaken and not stirred. But there's going to be too much damage to that car, unfortunately, to get him out for the third race. So they're going to declare the race as a result at the end of all of that. So the race is over, and that means that Adam Southgate is the winner. Once again here, he takes the victory after 5 laps. Gary Lawrence in second from James Coleman. Molyneux is fourth from Goodwin, Baker and Harris. Nick Hull, no surprises, out of the race, and I'm guessing will take no further part in race 3. Gavin Johnson takes another victory from Hugh Pert to close up the championship standings in the 924 class. But thank goodness Nick Hull is okay.
Adam, another victory. We're going to run out of things to say after these interviews, aren't we?
Yeah, a little bit. It's getting a little bit embarrassing, isn't it? No, in that race, I think Gary tried a different setup on his car and try and make it more stable through the chicanes. Didn't really work for him, so it was quite an easy march for me. My car was performing absolutely perfectly this morning. The cold weather's helping, but this afternoon, it's going to be so hot.
James, a tough race for you yesterday coming back to the series, but you've made up for it there, third place.
Yeah, no, happy with third. I think we could have finished a bit higher up, but obviously Nick had a really bad one, so they brought the safety car out, which was expected, and they red flagged it. They weren't going to sort that out, which was a shame, because Adam and Gaz in front of me, their cars were just starting to go off and mine was just starting to come in. So, yeah, a bit annoyed about that, but just hope Nick's all right, to be honest.